By popular demand, let's dive into the earth, deep into the earth, the elemental plane of earth to be exact, in an environment that is probably the most and least understood. I mean, we know it's an infinite plane of three-dimensional rock, all kinds of minerals, ores, crystals, and rock and earth types. It's the dream of every Moradin-loving dwarf in existence to one day find some portal to a chasm of endless jewels just clustered to every surface like the richest geode in the universe, to find molten rivers of pure gold and mountains filled with the silver steel mithril. I've talked about earth elementals before, how they are energy beings, like spirits made up of units of spirit, collective organisms that feed on each other and grow into a collective, becoming more powerful the more able to hold together and manipulate raw elemental earth in the shape of their elemental forms when outside of a pure rocky environment. And the more that accumulate, the more intelligent and individual the elemental becomes. Well, that's just one form of life within the elemental plane. There are many others, and today we're going to learn all there is to know about a rarely appearing creature called the Khargra. Appearing for the first time in the pages of the 1981 Fiend Folio, created by the Lawrence Schick, with an illustration by Errol Otis. Lawrence Schick is the co-author of the original Star Frontiers and has written many other games over his career. He created White Plume Mountain, ranked the 9th greatest Dungeons & Dragons adventure of all time, and he was the head of TSR that hired Tom Moldvay. So you can thank him for the Red Box D&D basic set. Oh, and you may know him recently since he is the principal narrative designer for Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, so that Lawrence Schick, an absolute legend, RPG Hall of Fame, godfather of the hobby, total badass. He basically created online role-playing games, and his accomplishments and influence are far beyond the scope of this little video. His creation of the Khargra, the earthfish or rock piranha if you like, is a window into a whole other strata of life forms existing in the elemental planes and very rarely encountered on other planes and planets within the prime material plane. So let's dive into the ecology of these mysterious and freaky looking critters. Settle back, grab yourself a tasty beverage. It's time to get deeply nerdy. The Khargra recently got an update and is included not only in Pathfinder lore, but also 5th edition thanks to Mordenkainen's Fiend Folio Volume 1, Monsters Malevolent and Benign. Saves me a little work converting it, you would think, but we will look at that one in a moment. While they do match many of the physical characteristics of other rock-eating creatures from the elemental plane such as the Zorn and the Zarin, they are not the same species. Some scholars assert the Khargra are the juvenile life stage of these creatures. That's not true. Each Khargra is the shape of a tube, basically they look like a jet engine crossed with a fish. 3 to 4 feet or up to 1.2 meters in length, tapering somewhat towards the rear, and covered in large, closely interlocked iron, platinum, and other trace mineral alloy metal scales. The intake mouth is a full foot in diameter and lined with sharp, exotic metal alloy teeth with a curve, being able to shut like an aperture. 3 metal fins, large and weirdly flexible, formed of the same sort of alloy as the scales, extend equidistantly from one another like a rocket. Similarly, 3 conical sheaths containing arms are tucked between the fins. Small eyes bulge out from either side of the top fin. The clawed arms, when fully extended, stretch out to 3 feet or 0.91 meters from the creature's body and are mainly used to latch onto beings they're feeding on and a part of the mating behavior, locking onto each other even while speeding through their native environment. That environment is rock, basically, but encompasses the incredible variety of strata, molten flows and extremely high pressure or density zones of the elemental plane of Earth and the quasi-elemental plane's minerals. They weigh around 300 pounds or 140 kilograms, most of which is the outer layer of metal fins and scales. The Khargra is constantly working more, opens and closes like an iris. The closest equivalent I can think of is the tiny rotifers found in the fresh water on Toril. The maw draws in earth, absorbing the required elements and ejecting the rest out of the back. hurling the creature forward so they seem to fly through solid ground at a speed to 30 to 35 feet per round. The speed also allows them to shoot out of the ground and sail for up to 10 feet through the air before landing, a tactic that they'll use to pounce near a food source or escape a predator chasing them in their solid world. Their feeding changes the consistency of the rock to a softer gravel behind them with slag in it. It's possible for a skilled individual to identify and track them this way, if they have the means to follow them. This can, in some cases, be damaging to structures that they rely heavily on their strength, such as fortifications. It would take some bad or good luck for the Khargra to cause really significant damage or a catastrophic collapse all at once. They don't do that sort of damage with ill intent. They're naturally quite neutral creatures with a low intelligence and just follow their instinctual behaviour. So don't fill your castle walls with gold and stuff. That would be my advice, and don't build such structures in the migratory path of the Khargra schools. So yes, they are migratory. They have an interesting life cycle. They almost always travel in small schools. There will be a larger one. I'm not sure if it's male or female. In fact, I don't know how their genders work at all. They may have none. They might have 3, or like the cuttlefish, with 2 different types of males. They're rarely found outside of the planes of Earth and minerals, so study is difficult indeed. Normally, the only reason they will travel to the primaterial plane is if they are attracted to very large or pure sources of some metal, particularly platinum, so rarely, very rarely. The Khargra life cycle is they hatch from a beautiful golf ball sized egg within a convection complex within the plane of Earth, where they grow to maturity over the course of decades. They will then group together and make their way to the quasi-plane of mineral, where it seems they just eat themselves to death in absolute ecstasy. There's really no other way to explain it. They travel to their own version of heaven and perish there, transformed into bloated geodes of spectacularly rare and refined minerals that simply explode. Or implode, really. Unlike salmon, they're not returning to their spawning ground. It's more like they finally answer the call, having produced many new generations of their kind. They retire to their ultimate reward and final doom. Rarely, an individual will break away from the school and venture for great distances and often to strange places. Nobody knows why, but they tend to be the largest of their kind. Rogues, I guess you could call them. I have no idea how old they get, but they don't usually grow larger than 4 feet in length. All Khargra feed on high-grade ores, but like most animals, if presented with the opportunity for a rich and easy meal, they won't hesitate to exploit it. Unfortunately, this means folks venturing around wearing metal suits of armor, weapons, refined steel, alloys, pure gemstones, enchanted wondrous constructs, and even coins and trade bars or ingots are just a walking buffet table to the Khargra. They have no interest in eating organic material or living creatures though. It's just incidental that their feeding can cause tremendous harm to folks who don't know you could just throw coins and shields and swords and stuff at them, and the Khargra will just leave them alone completely, slurping and grinding up those substances with terrifying ease. Inside the Khargra, the metals and minerals will be ground up in its gullet catchment pockets, so a dead Khargra will always have up to 600 gold coins worth of valuable minerals inside it. That's not that difficult to retrieve. In non-murder hobo terms, that's around 100 pounds or 45 kilograms of digested material, half of which will be mostly valuable nuggets of iron and other common metals, but 10% will be nuggets of silver, gold or platinum. Those who know the deep lore will harvest the fins of the Khargra, as dwarven smiths can use them in the construction of fine magical weapons, allowing them to hold a very keen and durable edge. The body scales can be used directly to fashion scaled armor, and the teeth make excellent arrowheads or spear points. Approaching Khargra do create vibrations through solid ground. Beings with tremor sense, dwarves with stone cunning, and many underdark species will be able to sense this faintly as the creatures switch direction as they suddenly sense food close by. All Khargra can scent the location of ferrous metals within 30 feet of their location at all times, probably by generating their own magnetic field. The prime material plane is not as rich in minerals, and they are almost always very hungry when found outside the inner planes. Many will starve to death, sadly. They'll fly out of the earth or solid rock and extend their claws to latch onto metallic objects and bite with their formidable maw, inflicting... Wow. Okay, 5th edition seriously nerfed this down to a mere 1d4 plus 1 points of piercing damage. Seriously? For a 1 foot wide maw full of sharp metallic teeth used to tear through solid stone? Are they deluded? No. They can eat up to 5 pounds of metal per melee round. The bite does 3d6 points of piercing damage, not 1d4 plus 1, that's ridiculous. They are flying wood chippers of armor and weapons. That's the whole point. Another error is they don't take damage from remaining inside solid earth and rock. It's their native environment. Bill, Bart, Mike, what were you smoking? Stay out of the long bottom leaf when you're updating the monsters, please. The limitation of this formidable bite attack is that the Khargra is literally like a fish out of water outside of the earth. They can only move towards a target by dragging itself along with retractable arms. And while the arms do no damage themselves, if they lash out and strike a target, they can latch on and haul that maw toward the target to take that formidable bite. So they basically have to hit you twice. But once they latch on, they're very difficult to remove unless they've eaten all the metal on the target or been killed. And if you do strike at them with a metal weapon, they will try to eat it. Okay, so just to be very clear, when they leap out of the solid earth or rock, they are out of phase at a molecular level, and it takes them a full combat round simply to phase into solid form in order to even make a bite attack. And they have to score a grappling hit with a retractable arm first in order to do so. If you hit them with a metal weapon, they will get to make a bite attack once per round against that weapon. And if they score a 16 or higher to hit it, they will bite a big chunk off it. Only if it's metal and if it's magical. You add a point to that for every level of enchantment. So 17 if enchanted, 18 if it's a +2 weapon or armor, 19 if it's a +3. Artifacts and non-metallic weapons will not be eaten. It's like, try and attack me with some fried strips of delicious bacon. I dare you. They're immune to fire, cold, and poison. A heat metal spell will do full damage though, and if you hit them with an old school spell like Phase Door or similar while they're shifting their molecular structure prior to or just after phasing into solid rock or earth, they will be instantly killed and remain in a solid state. I dare say petrification will have the same similar lethal effect. The 5th edition lore also says they don't like eating gold. Again, not true. 90% of their diet is iron, but 10% is made up of platinum, gold, or other rare minerals and metals and ores. There's no mention of copper or other specific metals, and no mention of indigestion caused by gems or organic matter. They just don't like eating living or organic things, and if they can help it. Much like I don't prefer to eat styrofoam. Khargra's dark eyes can see in total darkness as well as through earth and stone. Obviously, they don't rely on photons to do so. They probably generate the magnetic fields somehow. Despite their very low intelligence, Khargra can speak the Terran language of elemental earth creatures, and a number of Aesir, Dwarf, and Duergar clans are known to have trained Khargras over the course of the years for the purpose of their couriering messages. Having them learn the direction to underground strongholds and outposts, they accomplish this by sprinkling iron dust upon scrolls or other organic items bearing a message, then sending the Khargra to the destination. Once the destination was reached, they would cough up the item-bearing message. Dragons absolutely loathe Khargra, as the damn things will just eat a dragon's hoard of precious metals like a shark feeding frenzy, and dragons will kill them on sight, much like the Dao genies will. On the elemental plane of Earth, they are known to be hunted by the Chagrin, Peck, and Stone Giants. However, they do have their fans. Khargra are favoured by the gnome deities Kaladurin Smoothhands, Flandel Sealskin, and Erdlin. They are much loved by the earth deity Grumbar. And there you have it, my friends. The mysterious and weird little earth fish. Bane of the armoured knight, the Khargra. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more for you very soon.
Buried in the stone where the deep ones thrive. Metal in my maw, I'm alive, alive. Razor maw spitting, I'm a grinding beast. Through the rock, through the ore, I feast, I feast. Born in the depths where the earth turns black. Crunching on steel, no turning back. I glide through the strata, cut through the grain. Your sword's just a snack, I'll bite it again. Mulling veins, my bloodline flows. In the quake of my path, destruction grows. I'm the storm underground, can't escape my grind. Feel the tremor in the rock, it's my hunger line. Khargra, 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 Khargra. Cut through the stone, born of the deep. Grind in the metal while mortals weep. From the plane of earth, I've come to feed. Platinum dreams I devour with speed. You hear the rumble? That's my song. Through the rock I'm gliding strong. Fins like blades, teeth like gears. Your armor's my meal, no time for tears. A beast of hunger, I'm nature's wrath. Chewing through steel, carved in my path. Don't step in my world, don't tempt my fate. For the Khargra's bite doesn't hesitate. Khargra, 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 Khargra. Down in the stone where the shadows creep. Through the veins of the earth, my hunger's deep. Maw like a grinder, I bite, I tear. Metal in the dark, better beware. I'm the quake you feel, the bite you dread. Turn your shield to dust, leave your blade in shreds. Born of rock, I'm a forge's flame. No mercy in my heart, just the hunger I claim. I glide through the ground, I don't need air. Your gold's my prize, you're still my snare. I'm the earth's own beast, can't outrun me. Khargra's wrath, ride hungry. Khargra, Khargra.